let's get into
WrestleMania 37.
Let me tell you something, brother.
He was one of the co-hosts. He and Titus O'Neil. Hogan got booed terribly. Yeah, let me tell you something. Well, yeah, let me tell you something. Look, and listen. You know that I am guilty of still loving Hulk Hogan. I'm guilty of still loving the character. Let's put it that way. The man, the man is what he is. Which is
Scott Setolino's like he's on fire right now. He's ready for your.
Not something I'm proud of. We'll start with the host thing. Let me first just give a little advice to Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
And this is coming from the biggest Hulk Hogan fan ever. And I don't say that hyperbolically. I think you probably know I'm in that conversation of greatest.
Can you slide over to your right a little? Yeah, right there. Oh, there he is. Yeah.
Well, he's there, but yeah. He's there a couple of times.
Yeah.
It's time to close the door on Hulk Hogan. It's time to not put him on TV anymore. The fans just don't like him. He's going to get booed no matter. If he can't get cheered in Tampa, which is his own backyard, the man lives in Clearwater, it's not going to happen. The guy was getting booed. Now, from what I understood, the first night, he got some decent cheers, and there were a lot of people on Twitter who were actually saying, no, he got cheered pretty well. But then the second night, they went after him pretty hard. Dude, Vince, you got to cut and run here with Hogan. You just have to. It's over. It's not going to happen. The fans are not going to take a liking to him. And you know what? They have every right to. The guy made a racist comment, a pretty bad one a few years ago. And you know what? People don't forget. And I just don't think it's a good idea to have him on television anymore. I really don't. You want to keep him in the Hall of Fame? Keep him in the Hall of Fame. That's fine. He's such a huge part of wrestling history. I will always have a love in my heart for the character. But it's hard to separate the man from the character. Okay. So I just think going forward, if you're Vince, you got to pull him. You got to pull him off. It's just pull him off of TV. So this was nice. It was nice. It was really great. It was as WrestleMania, as they touted, 1 year, 1 month, 1 day from the last time that they actually were in front of live fans. And this was the first time. Each night, I think they had somewhere between 20 and 25,000 fans. Those fans were relatively vocal for those nights. There were some weather issues, especially the first night. There was an actual delay on the first night. Listen, overall, WrestleMania was good. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it was a bad event. All right, there were some real plus, great matches. In the first night,
can you give a couple of the best matches?
Yeah. A top match in the first night, obvious for me, was the main event between Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, who just let it. They left it all out there. Just a great emotional back and forth between the two of them. The crowd was so into it. That match, I actually got the outcome I wanted, which was for Bianca Belair to win. She beat the Boss on the big stage, and the match was so good. Fans were really into it. And the emotion that those two had before that match, where they were just like, Bianca Belair was smiling and crying, and Sasha Banks was acknowledging that, looking into the crowd, also trying to fight back tears, because it was a big night. It was a big historical night for them. Two black women in the main event sharing a stage of a WrestleMania. I mean, it just the history of that, and just showing you how far things have come in professional wrestling really said a lot. It really said a lot. And those two did not disappoint in that main event. The match that I was actually kind of most looking forward to on night one was Cesaro and Seth Rollins, for a couple of reasons. One, those are two of the best professional wrestlers on the planet, as far as conditioning, stamina, skill set. And they put on a phenomenal match. And Cesaro needed to get the win, and he got it. He got the rub. Rollins put him over, did the right thing. That's absolutely what they had to do. I could not have been more happy with the outcome of that match, which was Cesaro getting the win. And now it is time for Cesaro to take that next step. No intercontinental titles, no United States championships, no tag team titles. It's time to put him in the world title picture. He is that kind of guy. His skills on the mic are very, very good. And he is pound for pound, maybe the best wrestler around. He's in the conversation. It's time for him to get elevated. No question about it. The surprising fun popcorn match of the night was Shane McMahon against Braun Strowman in the steel cage. That shit was just fun. I mean, Shane McMahon, I'll tell you what, you say whatever you want about that guy, but that guy is willing to just do some stupid shit. He will put himself through an inordinate amount of pain in the name of entertainment. He just will. He's just willing to do it. I got to give it to him, man. I mean, that guy is not just like this pussy ass son of a billionaire. That dude is a hardcore motherfucker. And he is willing to put himself through pain to entertain people. And I'm talking like some serious pain. He got thrown off the top of a cage. Like, not like Undertaker throwing Mankind off the top of a cell into a table, but Braun Strowman threw him off the top of the cage into the middle of the ring. And I'm telling you, man, Shane McMahon, he will sell out for it. That dude he's cut from a different cloth. I'll say that for him. I really will. As far as night 2, okay. So night 2 started off tremendously. All right. The Fiend comes out with this sick ass fucking entrance. Just awesome. Alexa Bliss comes out with her weird ass glowing eyes, and she there's this giant Jack in the Box next to the ring, and she starts cranking the Jack in the Box, and all of a sudden, very slowly, the Fiend revitalized emerges from the Jack in the Box, and it was a really great moment. But then the match sucks. First of all, the Fiend should have won the match, not Randy Orton. Okay, Randy Orton. They need to put, if you're trying to, the Fiend is supposed to be this supernatural kick-ass character, and he loses an awful lot. He loses way more than he should. Okay. And it just, the end of the match made no sense, because then all of a sudden Alexa Bliss is on the top of the Jack in the Box and distracts the Fiend, and she's got this black oil, like pouring out of her face. And like, the Fiend is distracted by her, and then Randy Orton hits him with the RKO and he gets the pin, and then the lights go out, and then everything just disappears, and it's like, okay, what? And the fans were booing because they were like, "Fuck you, Vince! What the hell are you doing here?" Like, this was an easy ending to this story. The Fiend gets burned alive by Randy Orton. The Fiend comes back. The Fiend beats Randy Orton. We move on. No, instead, now there's just a bigger mystery, like what's going on with the Fiend and Alexa Bliss. So, really, really weird. Just a really weird thing. The Raw, let's see. There was the Women's Tag Team Championship, which was Natalya and Tamina versus Nia and Shayna Baszler. I really thought that Natty and Tamina should have won here, because there's a lot going on in the women's tag team division. And I feel like in one weekend, between the match on night 1, which was to determine which of like 4 or 5 teams, there was like a gauntlet match between 5 of the women's teams to determine who would get to face the champions on night 2. And I feel like within just a weekend, you basically like wiped out the entire women's division. Like, okay, those 5 teams beat themselves up. You had one winner emerge, and then they went on only to lose to the defending champions. And so it's now like, okay, you've wiped out like the entire division. Like who's taking on the women's champions at some point? I don't know. It just seemed like an end without like it wasn't like the start of something new. It just felt like this ending. Like, where do we even go from here with the women's division? I mean, there's a ton of talent. So I suppose like these teams can keep coming after the champs, but the champs have essentially wiped everybody out. So it's like, who else is there to fight? They got to start combining, making new women's team. I don't know. Anyways, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn Anytime those two get in the ring, it's always a good show. Logan Paul was also inserted into this, and like I said earlier at the beginning of the show, he ate a stunner from Kevin Owens, which was great. That needed to happen because nobody likes Logan Paul. WWE loves to bring in guys that people just don't give a shit about. Oh, by the way, I would be very remiss if I did not go back to night one and mention how awesome. So there was a tag team match between The Miz and John Morrison and Damian Priest and Bad Bunny. And I did not know who the fuck Bad Bunny was, by the way, until
he's a music artist.
Yeah. I didn't know who he was until he was inserted into like this wrestling stuff. Sorry, it's just not my flavor. But
I'll start calling you Bad Brian.
But let me tell you though, that dude, of all of the celebrities I have ever seen come from the outside and get into a wrestling ring, that guy acquitted himself the best. You could tell this guy worked hard. He practiced hard for this. And he looked like he belonged in a ring. And, not surprisingly, he and Damian Priest, anytime they bring a celebrity in, and the celebrity is wrestling, that guy or woman is almost always going to win.
Okay.
That's just good. That's just good practice. That's best practice. You got to put the celebrities over. They're your guests. You have to entertain them. You don't beat them. You don't beat up on them. You have those guys win. Okay. So, but I will tell you, man, that guy can work in the ring.
Bad Bunny.
I mean, he can work. I mean, dude, if I was going to say, if the music thing doesn't work out for him, which it obviously is going to, because it has, and I think he's like a Grammy winning artist, so he doesn't have to worry about that. But man, if he ever just decided I want a career change, I believe that WWE would accept him with open arms. Like, that's how good he was.
All right. That's good.
All right. So back to
Scott asked, he actually asked, can you ask Brian what he thought of Bailey over the 2 days?
Ding dong. Hello. I love Bailey. She was horribly misused throughout both of these days. First of all, she should have had.
I don't even know who Bailey is.
She's female. She's a female wrestler. She's she's like one of the 4 horsewomen. She's awesome. She's as talented a WWE superstar as there is on the mic, in the ring. She's got it all. And she's kind of doing this own, like when I said ding dong, hello, that's her kind of call now.
Gotcha.
But they should have done a segment with her. She should have hosted one of her ding dong hello shows in the ring with like a guest, whether it was Hogan and Titus or another wrestler or whatever. There should have been she was horribly misused throughout the weekend. Horribly. And then she ended up being a piñata for the Bella twins at the end, beating up on her, like, towards the end of night 2. It was ridiculous. So to answer the question, Scott, she was not managed properly over those 2 days. They needed to do it better. Frankly, she should have actually just been the host of WrestleMania. That would have been the better use of her. Not Titus and Hogan, just Bailey. Like, that would have been, she should have been the host for WrestleMania. If you're not going to use her in the ring, she should have been the host. So she was terribly misused. I mean, at least she was a presence in the show, but that was basically just like, okay, we got Bailey involved. We checked the box. Great. Otherwise, terrible misuse. So real quick, going back to night 2, Big E and Apollo, a Nigerian drum fight match. Apollo walks away, gets some intervention from Dabakato there, and gets the win and is the new Intercontinental Champion. That, by the way, that was necessary because Big E is on to bigger things. He needs to now set his sights on a world championship. It's time for him to go to the next level.
Serge said Bri Man, a.k.a. Bri Bunny.
Bri Bunny. I'm okay with it. The United States Championship match, that was a fun romp between Sheamus and Matt Riddle, just Riddle now. Sheamus hit this ridiculous brogue kick while Riddle was trying to like reverse jump off the ropes, and like Sheamus caught him right in the mush as Riddle was upside down in the air, and it was a great finish. And Sheamus became the U.S. champion, which was good. I kind of wanted that. And then you had the Raw Women's Championship match, Rhea Ripley versus Asuka. This starts a trend of championship matches that I was not happy with the outcome of. First of all, I did not want Asuka to lose, not to Rhea Ripley, not on Rhea Ripley's basically first match, after coming up, here from NXT. It's just too much too soon. It was obvious that these two women didn't have any chemistry in the ring because they hadn't fought each other prior to this. This is where you're really missing house shows being a thing, because had there been house shows, these two could have worked together in multiple forms to get themselves ready for a match like this. I really feel like this match was forced on us without any build, and you just threw the belt right on Rhea Ripley, and you took it off of Asuka, who has been carrying the fucking load for the women's division for the past year throughout this pandemic. Becky Lynch goes away. She has a kid. Asuka takes over as champion. Asuka has been she's done nothing but carry the load for this past year, and you reward her by making her put Rhea Ripley over on night 2? That's some fucking bullshit, man. That is some straight horse shit. Sorry, Asuka needed to retain here. It's too much too soon for. I'm not telling you that Rhea Ripley's not a big star in the making. Yes, she is. I'm not a huge fan of hers. I don't particularly love the character, but whatever. She's fine, and I get, objectively speaking, that there's a place for Rhea Ripley and that she's probably going to end up being a really big star. There's going to be a lot of big matches between her and Charlotte and Asuka, and probably a number of other women, Nia Jax, I'm sure Becky Lynch. Rhea's going to have a lot of rivalries over the years, and she's going to be a big star. She's still a kid. She's like 24 years old. But this should have been Asuka's night to shine. This should have been Asuka's night to say, this should have been Vince's way of repaying her by putting her over on the grandest stage of them all and saying, you get a night to bask in victory, to hold the belt high. Thank you so much for carrying us through this pandemic the last year and doing it so well. Instead, no, Vince just drops trowel, takes a big shit all over Asuka, and gives the fucking belt to Rhea Ripley. And that brings us to the main event, to the main event of main events, night 2, the triple threat match for the Universal Championship between Daniel Bryan, Edge, and the head of the table, the tribal chief. Acknowledge me, Roman Reigns. And let me tell you, I have said, the glasses are actually coming off.
Whoa.
I have said for months, literally months, since Edge won the Royal Rumble, if the intent of Edge's comeback was not to win the championship, then what the fuck are we doing here? So this all starts. This didn't start 1 year ago. This started really, well, I guess it was over a year ago. The 2020 Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. Edge shocks the world, comes back, is in the Royal Rumble, makes the final 4 of the Royal Rumble. Great feel-good moment. Fast forward to this year. Edge comes out number 1 of 30 in the Royal Rumble. Hangs on to defeat 29 other guys. Wins the Royal Rumble. Looks at the sign. Fireworks go off in the Thunderdome. And you're thinking to yourself, Edge is going to have his WrestleMania moment. We're going to complete this comeback story. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, if you didn't want Edge to beat Roman Reigns, okay, fine. Have him take on Bobby Lashley. Oh, by the way, I totally skipped over that match. Lashley retained against Drew McIntyre. He beat Drew McIntyre, which I also, by the way, was the right call. I think that was the right call. I was actually happy that Lashley retained. I like Bobby Lashley as champion. I want him to get a nice little run. And he beat Drew McIntyre. And it was a really good match, too, and it was a good finish. But getting back to Edge, what was the point of having Edge show up a year ago at the Royal Rumble, finish in the Final Four, a year later win the Royal Rumble, if not to complete the comeback story? Because the only way to complete that comeback story in professional wrestling is to put the belt on the guy. Do you want a case in point? Because I'll give you one. Edge is 47 years old, okay? This same thing happened almost 20 years ago. They bring Hulk Hogan back as part of the NWO. Hogan is in his late 40s at that point, okay? Hulk Hogan comes back. He loses to The Rock at WrestleMania 18. Except in doing so, he gets the fans back because the fans are immensely behind Hogan. Mm-hmm. Almost nobody in Toronto Skydome wanted The Rock to win that match. They wanted Hogan to win it. Vince recognized, we have a comeback story here. How do I complete this comeback story with Hulk Hogan? Oh, I know. I put the belt on him. Now, what they did there, okay, so this is back in like 2002 or 3, all right? Hogan loses to The Rock at WrestleMania 18. But Vince McMahon himself, 1 month later, now at that same event, by the way, WrestleMania 18, Triple H wins the championship. Okay, so he had just won the championship. The very following pay-per-view after that is Backlash. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you just had put the championship on Triple H, preparing him for a long run. Vince pivots because he's like, oh shit, I saw the reaction that Hogan got. The only way to complete that comeback story is to put the strap on Hogan. He didn't have to do it for long. He just needed to have the moment. He needed to have the moment of Hogan winning that belt back. Okay, now fast forward back to present day. You've set Edge up for this comeback story. Okay, mm-hmm. The only logical conclusion is for him to walk out of WrestleMania with the belt. Now, if you didn't want him to beat Roman Reigns because you don't want to take the shine off Roman Reigns, then put Roman Reigns in a match with like just Daniel Bryan and have Edge beat like either Bobby Lashley or Drew McIntyre. If you didn't want Edge to beat Roman Reigns, fine. Then put Edge in a different championship match. You had another option there. But the only acceptable outcome for the end of night 2, if Edge is going to be in that main event, is for him to walk out of that arena with the belt. Believe me when I tell you I was not the only person who felt that way. All you had to do was listen to that crowd. All you had to do was hear that reaction when Metalingus started playing and Edge came out of that fucking curtain and that place went bonkers. Vince had to be saying to himself, oh fuck, I screwed this one up already. Now Vince is probably used to that because Vince has been doing nothing but fucking up for the last God knows how many years. But you know, Vince claims that he knows the WWE audience knows what we want better than we do. That was literally the thing he said almost 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. When he said the main event for Backlash, Triple H will take on Hulk Hogan. And before he said that, he said, I know what the WWE universe wants better than they do. Therefore, in the main event, Triple H will take on Hulk Hogan. Okay, well, you knew what WWE audience wanted this time. They wanted Edge. They wanted Edge to win. And you didn't have to be in front of a live audience to know that this was going to be how it turned out. When Edge walked through, an Alter Bridge hit, and that music went on, and he walked out, if you didn't think he was going to get a huge pop and that the audience was not going to be firmly behind him, then Vince, what the hell have you been doing for the last 40 years? You're supposed to know. You needed to give this audience what they wanted last night. And that show needed to fade to black with Edge holding up that championship. And if you wanted, I don't care if fucking you wanted to have him lose it the next night. He could lose it tonight. He could have lost the belt tonight to Roman Reigns. It wouldn't have mattered. All that mattered was you needed to give Edge that moment. You crushed, destroyed, melted, and obliterated what would have been a great comeback story. Now, it's over. There's nothing you could do. If you putting the belt on Edge at any other time now will make zero sense. You had to do it last night. There's no makeups here. You can't do it at the next pay-per-view. You can't do it on a random SmackDown. No, the moment has passed. You lost the moment. You wanted to give it to Roman Reigns so that you could make him look strong. And that's why I said at the opening of the show that this match was the law-abiding citizen of matches. And if you've never seen the movie Law Abiding Citizen, here's I'll give you the Cliff Notes version of it. Law Abiding Citizen is the greatest movie ever made up until the fucking crappy ass end. Because if you were really, I don't know, I don't remember who the director was for Law Abiding Citizen, but he's a giant pussy. Because there was only one way that Law Abiding Citizen should have ended. And it should have ended with Gerard Butler killing fucking everybody, including Jamie Foxx's character. That's the only way that movie needed to end. Gerard Butler needed to kill everybody. He needed to kill Jamie Foxx. He needed to kill Cole Meany. He needed to fucking kill everybody and get away with it. That was the only acceptable outcome for that movie. And if you think that there was another acceptable outcome for that movie, then, well, shut the fuck up and don't watch any more movies. Because you're a fucking idiot. Because there was only one acceptable outcome for the movie. There was only one acceptable outcome for WrestleMania 37. And it was for 47-year-old Edge with his ripped, shredded abs to walk out of fucking WrestleMania with the Universal Championship. Instead, you fucking force-fed Roman Reigns and stuffed him down our fucking throats with this tribal chief, head of the table, and that little fucking flea cousin of his, Jey Uso, who I fucking can't stand. Oh my God. Somebody please knock him the fuck out. And listen, they're doing a good job of building Roman Reigns' character. I will say that. Roman Reigns is as dominant as he could possibly be. I will give him that. All right? They've done a wonderful job of building Roman Reigns. Mm-hmm. But I will say, I'm actually being played out. my acceptance speech went out way too long. But the bottom line is, there was only one acceptable outcome for WrestleMania 37 last night, and you didn't get it. You didn't get it. And if you woke up this morning like me and you're feeling a little bit unsatisfied by WrestleMania, you should. Overall, I'm going to give WrestleMania a B. It was a very good event. It really was. It was a good event. But it would have had an A if... And here's the thing. At the end of that match, I really felt like we were going to get the right finish because Edge had set up Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns with double concertos there. He had them both set up. And then all of a sudden, the flea Uso comes in and ruins everything. Mm-hmm. And if they had just finished that match with Edge hitting the concerto on Daniel Bryan and hitting the concerto on Reigns, and even if you didn't want to take the shine off Roman Reigns, then just fucking have him cover Daniel Bryan for the win. It didn't have to be Reigns. But that match, to end that way, I just don't understand how you have to complete the Edge comeback story with a title. That's it. That's all there is to it. And listen, I'm gonna give Vince the. I'm gonna go with the old Otter line here. You know what? You fucked up. You trusted us. And I didn't. I didn't trust Vince. I didn't trust Vince not to fuck this up. So I shouldn't really say
Vince
that.
McMahon equals Felix Gary Gray, who is the director of Law Abiding Citizen.
That's him. And I don't even know who the fuck Felix Gary Gray is.
Well, he's the director of that movie.
He's the guy who fucked up what would have been one of the greatest movies ever, Law Abiding Citizen. Mm-hmm. God damn, man. God damn it. Like, Vince really had a chance to deliver an astonishingly great WrestleMania. And instead, you got an 87. Give you an 86, 87 of a grade. It was good. It was a good event. It's great to see fans back again. And listen, this is not an indictment on Roman Reigns. I don't hate Roman Reigns. I love Roman Reigns, actually. His character is great. What they've done with him over these last the last year, especially turning him heel, phenomenal. But you did it at the expense of completing a tailor-made comeback story. You just completely screwed it up. and now there's no way to fix it. So, in classic Stone Cold style, I'm just gonna say this to Vince. Fuck you. Fuck you, man.
Sergio says, loving the emotions, Bri Bunny. Tell us how you really feel.
Well, and then you got full. I went full Bri Man there.
And Scott said, LMFAO, this is great.
Hey, I'm here to please the two fans I have.
We also have
man.
I'm gonna just give you a little Felix Gary Gray here. He directed one of the movies that's actually on our Wheel of Destiny, which we will have to spend in a second, and that is Friday.
Okay. I mean, at least he didn't fuck that up.
He also did the Waterfalls, TLC Waterfalls video short.
Did he really?
Yes.
Okay.
He did a lot of things with R. Kelly. Not great. If I could turn back the hands of time video short, he did TP2.com, the videos. If I could turn back time,
so his claim to fame is going to be Friday.
Yeah.
Because it's not Law-Abiding Citizen, because he fucked that movie.
Yeah, no. He did Straight Outta Compton.
Oh, did he?
Mm-hmm.
It's a good movie.
It is a good movie. He directed Men in Black International.
Oh, that's not a good movie. So, we're back.
He directed The Fate of the Furious.
I don't know if I'm in the minority or the majority on my feelings on Law-Abiding Citizen. Frankly, I don't care.
He directed The Italian Job.
Which one?
The Italian Job.
Oh, The Italian Job? Wow, he's got a little resume.
He's got a good, decent. He definitely just did not. Bri Man does not like The Law-Abiding Citizen for sure.
No, I love the movie. I hate the ending.
So you don't like the movie?
I don't know where I stand. I don't know where I stand with the movie. I just hate the fucking ending. But the movie itself, leading all the way up till the ending, like, is great. It's like a perfect movie.
Except it's not.
Except it's not because of the ending.
All right, so that's pretty much it for our show. But we are going to spin.
You know what it'd be like if you had a. It'd be like if you went to Dairy Queen and you got yourself a peanut butter bash, and you're just like, man, you're going all the way through it. It's just the best fucking ice cream I've ever had. And then at the very bottom of the cup, there's just a big fucking like thing of cat shit at the bottom. Just like a big lump of cat shit. Like, what the fuck is this? Did a cat they took a lump of cat shit out of the litter box, put it at the bottom of the cup, but on top of it, there's just all this glorious ice cream and peanut butter and nuts and shit like that. Oh man, I don't know.
You gotta watch out for that cat shit at the bottom of your.
Yeah, you really do. Watch out for the cat shit. And I would know. I've got 3 cats.
Gotta watch out for the cat shit when you're watching those movies, when you're watching WWE.
And now, oh god, now tonight or Friday night, I gotta fucking watch Roman Reigns come out and drop some ridiculously long promo about acknowledge me. I'm the head of the table. Oh god, I gotta listen to this fucking tribal chief head of the table shit for the next god knows how long. Please, Big E beat him. Please have Big E dethrone Roman Reigns at some point in the near future. Please.
I'm gonna spin the wheel of destiny. The what? The wheel of destiny.